Hola, hola, hello, my name is Natalia Delgado and today my story is called Losing Her into the Deep. So, first of all, let's start with a question. Have you ever imagined your life without your favorite person in your whole entire world? Without his or her presence? Without their infinite love towards you or their friendship? For me, this person is my mother. And a couple of years ago, I faced one of the most greatest obstacles in my life. I almost witnessed her with my own eyes, losing her into the deep of the ocean. So first of all, before I go into this deep and tragic story, I'm gonna go and talk to you a little bit of how this story started. So as a tradition, I'm from Mexico, and as a tradition, we spend every single summer in Ixtapa. It's a beautiful beach near Mexico City, and we usually spend all our summers there. We have a beautiful house we're very grateful for, and in that house we can witness the breeze of the wind and hear the crashing waves. So it's a beautiful place where I grew up with. So this day, it was a Sunday morning. It was a beautiful day out. It was warm, it was sunny, and it was time for our breakfast. So we had some wonderful chilaquiles. It's a very well-known Mexican traditional breakfast. We went and had some breakfast, and then we went down to the beach. In Ixtapa, what we do is that it's a wonderful place to play sports. So we went to our kind of beach, which is a small beach covered with on the sides there are two gigantic walls of rocks. And usually we go there fishing. So this Sunday morning, I went with my siblings and my cousins and my aunt and my mother, of course, to fish to those rocks. However, we wanted to go and climb all the way to the top of the rocks. Even though it is kind of dangerous because that's where the waves form, we still thought that it was worth it because that's where you get the most beautiful view. So my little cousins and my siblings stayed there, and it was only my cousin, my aunt, and my mother and I that went to the adventure of climbing the walls. So at the beginning it was kind of harsh because those rocks were gigantic, were so hard to walk on because they were pointy, but that didn't stop us until we hit a point where the rocks ended and there was like a meter of difference of one rock to another, where we had to jump to the other one, and if not, we were going to fall into the deep ocean. Like always, my mom was the adventurous one, so she was the one that was the first one to do that step, until 1 second, without realizing, there was a huge wave that came that came behind her, and it drowned her. It pushed her right into the ocean. With this ocean, it was like a circle, and it was all full of rocks, and it was just like a water tornado in it, and I could just see her drowning into that deep ocean. All I can think about, I was just thinking, oh my God, how am I going to be able to reach her? I can just remember her fear in her eyes, me shaking all over the place. I remember that my aunt had to grab me because my legs and my arms were shaking so bad. My mom was just drowning, and it was just wave after wave, just hitting her to every single wall. She could not breathe, and I just remember her putting all her hands to cover her head, because she knew that if she hit her head, that would be it for it. So I could just remember screaming at the top of my lungs for help. Auxilio! Por favor, ayúdenme! It was terrible. I cannot picture my life without her. My mom is my life. She's my home. So I remember those painful seconds where you wouldn't see her. She was just under the water, and there was just a bigger wave and a bigger wave, and then another wave, and just her just crashing into the walls. She was all covered in blood because of all the hits that she was taking against the rocks, and because of urchins, which are tiny creatures that are small, rounded, but they have very pointy edges that just stick to yourself. So she was all covered in blood. With this, I could just picture my life and go back into tiny flashlights. I remember my mom's smell, her warm eyes, her kindness, her beautiful smile. And I cannot picture my life without her. I was almost about to lose my hero in that second. Luckily, there was 1 second where a wave did not come as soon as the others, and my mom was able to grab to the rocks. So when she grabbed to the rocks, she was finally able to pull herself out, and I just remember she was so weak because she spent all her energy inside the water trying to fight for her life. So with this, today I am grateful that even though it was a terrible experience, my mom is here.